Hello everyone, so you're very welcome back to Unstable TV. Now, we had an amazing suggestion, something we never thought we'd be making, but we're always happy to make whatever videos you guys throw at us. So this is really cool to be making this because we love to help out too. So what's going on today, Danielle?
So today, James, we got a suggestion from Angelica Klein. We popped a comment up here. And she asked us, would we be able to do how wheelchair accessible is Ireland? Again, we never thought of doing a video like this. I don't know why we didn't, but it's going to be really helpful.
I wish we had. If anyone has any other suggestions like this, because Angelica is travelling to Ireland and would like to know this, so we hope this video helps. But if you have any suggestions as well in the meantime for anything like this, let us know in the comments.
So, we are going to find out just how wheelchair accessible Ireland is.
So, let's jump over now and start with number 1. Danielle will bring us into that. Let's go.
So, I'm going to be talking firstly about transport. So obviously when people are travelling to Ireland, transport after the boat or the plane is the first thing people look at. So obviously the ferries and the airplanes are wheelchair accessible, and the airports and ports. They're all fully adapted for wheelchairs. So that's amazing. Now for after gets a little bit tricky, but the transport in Ireland is tricky for everybody because it's really not good. So Dublin Bus. Dublin Bus is wheelchair accessible. It has ramps and it has a wheelchair space. 100% wheelchair accessible. So there shouldn't really ever be a problem with that. So there we go. Easy. Now for transport outside Dublin, because obviously people aren't going to just stick in Dublin. For the trains or the darts that we call them over here, there is elevators that are accessible to everybody. But in some certain stations, you do have to ring beforehand to get assistance. So you might have to look that up yourself as well. But all of them do have access to that. It's just whether they have it when you're there or not. So do just make sure you check places that you're going to make sure you just ring up and let them know. And they'll have it there. Now with Bus Éireann, Bus Éireann travels everywhere around Ireland. There are only some buses on Bus Éireann that are wheelchair accessible. So it is another thing where you will have to check that out beforehand. They do accommodate as well with some of them, so the option is there too as well if you'd rather get the bus instead of the train. Taxis are wheelchair accessible too, but we all know how expensive taxis are. So obviously the cheaper ones would be more so the darts and the buses, but the taxis are a good option as well. Now James is going to tell you all about the tourist attractions.
So next up on our list we have tourist attractions. So in Dublin we have we have the St. Patrick's Cathedral. I'm sure that'll be a must visit if you're coming over here. That has a lift and a ramp for wheelchair access, which is really good. So next up we have the Fallon Ships in Wexford. That has lift accessible for wheelchairs as well. So in the Wax Museum they have lifts for wheelchair accessible, and they also have a wash closet as well. So for Photo Wildlife in Cork, they have wash closets, they also have lifts, and they also have a wheelchair accessible train tour that goes around the Photo Wildlife Cork. So for the Guinness Storehouse, they have wheelchair accessible with ramps and lifts. So in Dublin Zoo, you can rent wheelchairs, and there's also wheelchair accessible toilets as well. So in some places like Rocket Castle you have to ring up in advance, but they can organise for things to be wheelchair accessible for you. So next up on the list we have food and drink, and Danielle's going to take over for that now.
So when everybody comes over to Ireland, or they travel anywhere, they're going to want some food and drink too. So here's some places around Ireland that again is wheelchair accessible. So the Drury's building, which is a Mediterranean if you want that, is fully wheelchair accessible for everyone. And we have the Bunsen Burgers. Bunsen Burger is, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere around Ireland at this stage. I might be wrong, but there's a lot of them in Dublin anyway, and I think there's some in Galway. So there's probably more out there. That is fully wheelchair accessible too. And then another one in Dublin is Balf's. It's a really popular spot for like seafood and salads, and if you want somewhere a little bit more posh. That again is fully wheelchair accessible with ramps and bathrooms. And some places in Galway, which is also another big spot, is Cava Bodega and Dobrow's. And in some places in Cork, is Market Lane and River Club. With all of these I have mentioned above, they all have ramps, they all have wheelchair accessible bathrooms. So it's literally for everyone. Go, have a good time, have some food, have some drink, and just enjoy the atmosphere.
So, with all that list above, there is only a few little minor difficulties, but it wouldn't be the world without some difficulties. So, Danielle, what is that?
So Ireland has a lot of cobblestones.
Yep.
And cobblestones are really difficult anyway.
Yep.
So that's just something to be aware of, especially in the likes of Dublin town and Cork town. It's just full of cobblestones, so it is something that you just have to be mindful of as well.
It's just part of the design, unfortunately. So just please be safe and be cautious of that. Another thing to be cautious of as well with some wheelchair accessible locations is Ireland is full of hills. So when you hear them stories about your parents saying to you when you were younger they walked hills to get to school, they actually lived in Ireland for a short period. Not really, more or less. But nonetheless, be cautious of the hills here. There is a lot of them. And it's not a joke. It's not one of those things where we're like, oh, we're over it. No, there's a lot of hills.
So just with our research of the wheelchair accessibility in Ireland, Ireland is 3 out of 5 for wheelchair accessibility. So it's not
the worst.
No, it's not too bad. Like we said, there is some tourist attractions and some places that you can go to. They do have wheelchair accessibility, but you just have to ring up and kind of confirm that in advance.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep an eye out as well when you're coming to Ireland. But it does seem, well enough.
Yeah, pretty accessible.
Yeah.
Overall.
From what we've seen anyway, we read a couple of blogs from wheelchair users in Ireland, and they've kind of all said that it's not too bad.
Yep. So if you'd like any other lists like this, or if you want us to check out anything else that you might not be too sure of, that you want to hear from the locals, what's accessible, what's not, we'll be sure to check it out for you guys. We're open to whatever suggestion you guys have out there.
Absolutely. Just drop them down below about anything in the world. That's all. And where you can research them and check them out for you.
So that has been our list for today, and we will see you guys in the next one.